Hi, everyone. Welcome to the digital experience team. This is our iteration retro. We'll talk about the things that went well and things to improve on for the last iteration. Today is Thursday, August 26th. And I think first up is things that went well. Tyler has the first one.
Yeah, I shouted out Chad in our release video, but Chad, if you're watching, or other folks, Chad Woolley, really appreciate the collaboration this cycle. We spent like an hour and a half synchronously going through some GitLab CI stuff on the existing site and on the core marketing site, and then a bunch of other time asynchronously talking things through. And yeah, I'm just feeling like I have no concerns about the deployment story for the core marketing site. I have zero concerns. We will be able to do exactly what we want to do, and it will be like smooth. And I'm just stoked on it. So I'm just like, yeah, things are really coming together. There's plenty of other challenges, but like I'm stoked, and I think that went really well. So thanks again for the collaboration, and also, yeah, I'm just excited.
I added a sub point +1. Super excited is next. I built my portfolio next on PTO, and it's really cool. So excited to bring some of that over here. Over to Jess.
I just wanted to call out Laura and I have been doing these like stakeholder interviews, and I feel like they're going well. And it's just been really nice to like cross collaborate with a bunch of different people across the org, including across the world. We had an interview in Australia, in Greece, in Brazil. Like we're really getting the breadth of the org, and like, people have just different knowledge about different things. And it's been really cool to hear it. And then also like get them on board with our OKR. So like when we start working on stuff, we can kind of collaborate them continually and get their, consult with them as needed. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think next up is things to improve on. And Tyler has the first one.
Yeah, just preemptively, I'm remembering like it's feeling right now like all the cool stuff that's going on with the core marketing repository feels a lot like the storybook repository for slippers, where it's like, I'm stoked on this, I'm like in the zone. And like then weeks or months later, like there were a bunch of like gaps in like docs and questions and stuff. So I want to put out an open invitation. Like I know when I'm feeling this way and I'm like super in the zone on stuff, that like it means that I might only be considering like things that are top of mind for me. So I just wanted to put out an invitation for I'm going on PTO during next iteration. So I'm going to take like a light workload, but what I'd really like to do primarily is like keep time open for questions, either async or synchronously. So please like find time on my calendar, or like open up issues in the repository or whatever it is with questions. Just because like I want to like from the get, we've only been working on it for like 10 days, or MRs. Javi said everything starts with an MR is true. We're only like 10 days in. So I want to catch this now to make sure that like people don't feel out of sync on it when we start doing stuff there. So I see there's some comments underneath.
Yeah, just kind of echoing that and saying even the smaller things, like I've noticed as I've started to build out that first page, it's like, where am I going to put the components? Where am I going to put like the assets? So it seems trivial at first, but when it scales to the size of about.gitlab.com, like I don't think putting all the images in one folder is going to be the solution. So maybe eventually, just if people have suggestions, or sitting down and ironing that stuff out.
I dropped a link to this localization plugin that I used, and everything made sense. It's like, oh, that's why Smart Lean, that's how that's supposed to work. Oh, now I get it. So that'd be cool.
I think I'm up next. Not really things to improve on, but just to comment that like it's been a while since we did a thing. I think Brandon's going away would have been the last time we just kind of socially hung out. And we need to hear about where Lauren has surfed lately and what vegetables Tina's growing. Like there are things that we need to update. So yeah, I think we should do that if people are up for it.
Yeah, I put a note there, like, is Canada open yet? Because I want to go, but that's probably not appropriate to travel yet. So yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the statty is in Vancouver. Like I saw some people talking about a Vancouver meetup, but I don't know what it looks like there. I know that this morning in the marketing strategy tactics meeting, someone asked about work travel, like, is that allowed yet? And they were like, the policy still says no, we're planning on updating it soon, but it's probably like a hard no unless you have a specific business reason. But I don't know if this counts as business travel. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah.
It's only going to get worse again. It's not getting better.
That's why I booked my flight, because I'm afraid I won't get home for Christmas. Again,
When are you going, Stephen?
the 9th of September.
Oh,
I
soon.
fly. Yeah, soon. Yeah, I fly from, because I got my new PR card. It came in the post.
Hmm.
I was like, well, that's grand. I can book it now. So, and it was only $800 for flights. So, really not that bad. So whenever business travel is opened up, we can all fly to Ireland. Go to the pub.
Yeah, I see a bit of chatter there about maybe doing another informal hangout or more PowerPoints. But yeah, let's put something on the calendar if everyone's up for it. Cool.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a long time. I do miss that.
All right, is it me? Are we done with that one? Yeah, so I just noticed when I was porting the page over core marketing site that we had a lot of styles that were in a base file in the other repository in the about.gitlab.com. And so when I started doing like, I don't know, header tags or everything, there's no styling. So the header tags are super small, and it made me realize we need like a solid base file that sets like the fonts and the sizes and that kind of stuff, which I think we already kind of have one, and it pulls in from Tailwind. So just maybe figuring that out. And I spoke with Michael earlier in the week about potentially pushing out the icon work, because I don't think it's as high as a priority as this. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm stuck at right now. So the enterprise page is kind of done. It's just not styled.
That's intentional with Tailwind and Slippers though. Like Tailwind strips out everything is opt-in, right? So it like everything is unstyled, and then you opt in with Tailwind. And
Yeah.
the challenge here is that like old pages from before Slippers weren't built that way, so you do need the base styles. But I would just to call out that if we don't go with Tailwind, then, and it sounds like maybe we are moving away from Tailwind and Slippers entirely. So if that's the case, then I think you're right. But if we stay with Tailwind, I would caution against a base style sheet, because that's like the opposite of how Tailwind wants to work. And
Yeah.
like you may want to do like a base style sheet for these legacy pages in the migration phase, right? You might want to call in, and you can do this in Nuxt even with a scoped style tag in a layout file. So you can do like a layout file that's like legacy middle, we call it like legacy dash middleman or legacy dash layout or something, and then do a scope style block that only applies to pages with that layout file that pulls in a base style sheet that brings you closer to the middleman styles. So just food for thought that like I don't know if, again, if we're moving away from Tailwind entirely, then based on whatever that architecture looks like go for it. But if we stick with Tailwind, I would recommend not doing base styles, using Tailwind as intended with pre-flight, which strips everything out, and where needed, treat the exceptional case, the legacy stuff, as an exceptional case, and like have an escape hatch for that specifically.
Yeah, sounds good. And I think in either direction we go, I'm nervous that it's going to affect styling on the old site, because I believe styles are being imported into both, right?
Well, the answer is it depends.
Yeah.
But if you're only talking about stuff in the core marketing site, that won't impact anything. Like core marketing site will be pretty well isolated from middleman. They have entirely independent build processes, and they even will be able to like lock in at different Slippers versions. So like if Slippers moves further than middleman wants to be at, we can keep middleman locked into an earlier version of Slippers, and we can move Nuxt along to newer versions of Slippers as it's ready. And we can even go down divergent branches here too if we need to have like a Slippers UI like legacy mode, right? Versus like the Slippers UI that is in active development and is pulled into Next. But I think you can keep it isolated depending on exactly how you implement the changes there.
And that fork actually might be nice. Because I'm thinking now, if, for example, let's say we add into that, not base, but whether it's through Tailwind or whatever, like a heading style, that's going to now mess up the old repository because it's getting imported over there. And now you're going to have like 2 conflicting header styles. But in the new one, you only have 1. So maybe that is the place to go legacy and new.
You could even you don't even need to fork it. We could version lock it down to, I mean, we could call a major version, right? Like we'd be a little bit outside a semantic release, but we are maybe probably at the point where it's breaking, and we could do like Slippers 0 is what middleman knows about. And then Slippers 1, and then we bump up to major version 1 that goes into the Next repository. And then they're totally isolated from one another, even on the version side of things. We'd have to figure out our repository branches and come up with this and just make sure that we're branching off of like appropriate things in the repo. But no reason we can, plenty of projects do that, maintain separate, like entirely separate branch structures for your major versions.
Yeah. All right, I think we'll end it there. We've been going back and forth for a while, but yeah, that sounds good. Awesome.
I just wanted to call out. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I have a note I just wanted like a mental reminder to add like the post CSS like Webpack stuff to the Slippers iteration epic. So because that'll help with like some of the things that you all are talking about now.
Do you want to verbalize the action item? Or
yeah, just I wanted to put this there to remind myself for planning meeting, and Barker and I have already chatted about this a little bit. Like we got pulled into, there's some we might be moving the sites behind Cloudflare or something, and there's just things to be ready for next iteration. So nothing specific on it, just wanted to put it on the agenda.
I think that wraps everything up. I have a bag to buy. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.